In this video, you will learn how to create likelihood of failure and consequence of failure analysis by creating categories with components and creating a score breakdown for each component. This is the first step toward creating your risk analysis. At this point, all the data that you want to use in your risk analysis should be imported into Info360 Asset. This includes pipe attributes such as material and diameter, CCTV inspection data, spatial data, and custom data from external tables. In this example, we will show how to create components under the critical facility category. To create a likelihood or consequence of failure, click on the risk icon on the left. Under the risk management page, you can click on consequence of failure setup or likelihood of failure setup. In this example, we will create a consequence of failure. To create a category, click Add Category. We will name this category Impact on Critical Facilities. Now I'm going to create the components that will be part of this Impact on Critical Facilities category. In this example, we will score pipes based on their proximity to hospitals, police stations, and fire stations. Each critical facility layer will be scored under a separate component. To add a component, click on Add Component, name the component, and choose the component type. In this example, we will score the pipes that are closer to the hospitals higher, and we'll give pipes that are further from the hospital a lower score. The spatial proximity type will allow us to score the pipes at different distance buffers. Now choose the data source of the layer that you're going to be conducting the spatial proximity analysis on, such as hospitals, and then click Next. In the map view to the right, you will see the layer extent for the layer that we're analyzing. In this case, there's only one hospital in the network. Choose the number of classes that you're going to be scoring. You can change the range values to score pipes at different distances. Once your buffers are created, you can assign scores to pipes that fall within different buffers. Pipes that are closer to the hospital will have a higher score, and as pipes get further from the hospital, the scores will decrease. As seen in this example, pipes within 0 feet and 2,000 feet of the hospital will have different scores that range from 10 to 7. Any pipes further than 2,000 feet will just have a score of 0. Once all of your ranges are scored, click Create. Now that your first component is created, you can continue creating components for this category or just create a separate category. In this example, I will continue creating components for my Impact on Critical Facilities category and score pipes based on the proximity to different critical facilities. Now that I have finished creating all components for my Impact on Critical Facilities category, I'm going to select all of the components that I want to include as part of this category scoring. As you can see, all of the scroll bars are currently highlighted in red as I have not specified a weight for the total score for the category or the individual components. All weights for the components for a particular category must add up to 100. Similarly, all weights for the categories in the consequence of failure setup must also add up to 100. I'm going to wait until I have created all of my categories before setting up the weight for my Impact on Critical Facilities category. For now, I am going to specify the weight for my components in this category. To specify the weight of a component, I can slide the scroll bar to the right until I get the percentage value of the weight that I want to assign to this component. This process has to be completed for all the components until all components have a weight and they all add up to 100. Once all the weights add up to 100, the scroll bars will be displayed in a blue color indicating that the setup is mathematically correct. You can also set up the weight values manually on the right side. The score assigned to an asset for a particular component will be multiplied by the weight to get a total weighted COF for the component. The final product will also be multiplied by the category weight. As a result, for each pipe, the total score for the Impact on Critical Facilities category will be the summation of the individual component score times the weight, and the total value will be multiplied by the category weight. Alternatively, You can check the checkbox for the use highest score from components as overall category score, and by doing this, the total score for a pipe will not be the summation of the individual components, but instead the maximum score of any of the individual components, regardless of what the score of the other components is. In this example, the pipe will score highly if it's close to a hospital, a police station, or a fire station, regardless of which one it is close to. Continue creating categories and components until all of the parameters that you want to use under your consequence of failure setup are included and you're ready to specify your category weights. Once this is done, specify the category weights for all your categories and make sure they add up to 100. Once they add up to 100, they will be highlighted in blue, and you can now save your consequence of failure setup. Keep in mind that all component weights and category weights must add up to 100 to be able to save your configuration. The process of creating categories and components for the likelihood of failure setup is the same that for consequence of failure setup. The only difference is that for the likelihood of failure setup, Info360 provides an already created condition category. This category refers to data that comes from CCTV scoring, and it is based on the CCTV standard. Consider checking the checkbox under if condition data is present, use it exclusively for LOF. This option will give the condition data a higher priority for all the pipes that have condition data, in other words, CCTV inspections associated with them. For pipes that have CCTV, the condition data LOF will be 100% of the total LOF score, and all the other category scoring will be ignored. For pipes that do not have CCTV, the total LOF will be based on the other categories other than the condition category. You have now learned how to create categories and components for your likelihood or consequence of failure setup, and have finalized the first step towards creating your risk analysis. Thank you.